That's right. The Leah Durant that you see that is the treasurer for P.F.I.R. You see her? Her name is right there. The same Leah Durant that goes on Bill O'Reilly. The same Leah Durant who is a lawyer who was and has defended John Tanton and his network, a part of other boards that he does, and she has been a lawyer for him in the past. That's what she does. She goes on Bill O'Reilly, she goes on Newsmax and all these shows. Mind you, this is the same Bill O'Reilly who laughed at black people for being stupid enough to not vote and let Trump win. Here's a clip of him gloating.
On the racial front, Talking Points has analyzed the vote on Tuesday. We found that more than 1 million African Americans stayed home as compared to 2012. The stats are these. There were about 15.6 million votes cast by blacks. In 2012, that number was 16.7 million. The effect was devastating on the Democrats as Trump won Wisconsin by just 27,000 votes. In Michigan, he's ahead by only 12,000 votes. And in Pennsylvania, Trump won by 68,000 votes. Had black Americans voted the same way they did in 2012, say hello to President Hillary Clinton.
Black Leadership Alliance, a group opposed to the immigration bill, says that adding illegal immigrants to the workforce would hurt black workers. The unemployment rate among African Americans stands about 13.5%. Joining us now from Washington, Leah Durant, the founder of the alliance. So why the divide between your group and President Obama, Ms. Durant?
Well, there's so much evidence out there, Bill, showing that any kind of amnesty would have profound consequences on the African American community. It impacts their ability to find work, and it impacts their wages when they do find work. So we are standing together, a bipartisan coalition, urging the President and the Senate and the Gang of Eight to take a listen to us and to insert this into the conversation, because the evidence is out there showing that this will have negative consequences for many years to come for African American workers and all low skilled workers.
All right, so it's a competition for jobs that you object to, but why do you think that President Obama doesn't see it your way or hasn't never raised this point?
You know, there is so much evidence out there showing that if this bill were to be passed, that African Americans and low-skilled workers will be severely impacted for many years to come.
Why hasn't President Obama ever raised the point?
Well, I think that there's much information out there why many political parties choose not to talk about illegal immigration, but we are standing together talking about it.
Yeah, but you haven't answered my question. You must have thought about it. Why hasn't President Obama raised the issue you are raising?
Well, I think it's very political. I think even Politico has reported that it will be a boon for, the Democratic Party were illegal aliens to be provided amnesty and given the ability to vote in this country.
So you say that he's throwing African Americans under the bus for a political gain for his party?
I think so, but I don't think he's the only one. I think Republicans have also done very poorly about this issue, which is why we have come together and said, listen to us. This will impact the African American community. It's negative. The evidence is out there, and we want you to slow down before you provide amnesty to an additional 11 to 20 million people.
Why do you think the African American unemployment rate is double that of whites, and the poverty rate for African Americans, 27.6%, is way above whites and even above Hispanic Americans? Why? What is the core reason for that performance?
Well, I think there are many historic reasons, but one of the reasons that I see, which has also been found by the U.S. Commission on Civil Rights, is that many African Americans rely on those entry-level positions in the labor force. We're talking about positions in the hotel industry and construction and the restaurant industry, and we are competing with aliens for these same positions. Look, you've got 22 million Americans, Bill, that are either out of work or underemployed. If this bill were to be passed, we will be competing with aliens for these very jobs, which is one of the main reasons that we stand against the amnesty bill.
Now, let's get to who these guys are in this picture. These are known white nationalists. She's at a white nationalist meeting right now. white nationalists. The first one we're going to deal with is the one who's not circled. His name is Wade Lutton. And you can see him right here at an American Renaissance meeting with Jared Taylor. See Jared Taylor standing up in the back, and you see him sitting down? This is a book that he wrote with John Taunton about how non-white immigrants are bad, but white immigrants are good. You see this other guy right here? Peter, Gamma, whatever the fuck his name is? You see him, right? Well, this is him at a white nationalist meeting. Talking, you know, his white nationalism, how black people suck, white people are the master race, yada, yada, yada. You know the drill. Well, I just wanted to do this video real quick, because I'm going to break down all the members of this board. I just wanted to touch on that real quick. Because, yeah, I just wanted to touch on that, because ADOS, is this your queen? This is your queen who's a part of this movement, who's a board member of this group. Matter of fact, I'm sorry, this is not your queen. This is before she was your queen. This is when she was gender fluid, and she was transracial, I guess, and she was pretending to be a white man. Oh, this is the picture of your queen. Is this your queen? Your queen. Your queen. This is the one who is a board member, who meets with this woman, who tried to pretend that the group she's a part of is not racist at all. It's actually progressive. And then she tried to say, well, there's other black people on the board. Well, this is one of the black people. I'm going to deal with the other guy, and I'm going to deal with everybody on this list. There is no progressives on this board. There is no liberals. There is nothing. There's no Democrat. There's nothing. Everybody on this board is a hardcore, stomp down white supremacist. And she takes meetings with these people all the time. Mind you, she's on the board, so she meets with them all the time. They have meetings, they have to discuss stuff. She's on the executive board.
Okay, he was the leader of the black nationalist movement that spawned hundreds of different organizations that were meant to uplift black people. When he said that I am the equal of any white man and I want you to feel the same way, we felt that in our soul. But when Garvey met with a man who felt the same way about white people that he felt about black people, we disowned him. Now, some people tend to say that Garvey met with the leader of the KKK in order to learn the inner workings of the organization so that he could bring that information back.
Once a week. That's what she's doing. This is how, again, when I made the video getting at her about about being down with P.F.I.R, this is why they were tweeting in support of her, because she must have told them about the attacks against her at the meeting. So they were showing support for her. You niggas is the dumbest niggas who ever walked the face of the earth. And everything that happened from this point on, you deserve it. Times 10. Times 10. How could you allow somebody like this to trick you? I gotta end this video because I'm about to start ranting. And I can't do this video over. On that note, family, peace.
Working for the Democratic Party and has never worked for the Republican Party. I have overwhelmingly throughout my life voted for Democrats. I have only voted for a third party candidate once in my life. Right? Once in my life I voted third party. I'm not 21. My whole career. And so you have to think about what it takes to smear somebody at that level because they've decided to be independent. But that's what Joy Reid is there for. You're there to smear me because I'm not going to get in line. You don't want me to think for myself on immigration. You don't want me to have a doctor. You don't, y'all.
Fired its co-founder, Morris Dees. Dees gained notoriety way back in 1981 after winning a lawsuit that bankrupted a leading Ku Klux Klan group. The nonprofit civil rights organization declined to elaborate, saying only that Dees failed to live up to the center's standards and values.
US 11 years ago when he was just 14. Now his future is uncertain. The decision to scrap the Deferred Action for Childhood Arrivals program means that Jesus could face the same fate as that which befell his father, deportation to Mexico.
If they take away DACA, like I said, all my dreams are down because we have DACA and we have a house, we have a jobs, and we have everything in here.
DACA came into effect under Barack Obama in 2012. It gave 800,000 people the right to work, protection from deportation. Since then, several Republicans have said it's unconstitutional and demanded its repeal.